So this guitar's in a bunch of pieces, and I think all the pieces are there, but the primary thing we got to do is get rid of this broken off bit that's broken off from here. I could just glue that in place, but I think I want to use a different type of glue for that I want to use for the dovetail pocket. So I think I'm going to try and remove this with heat. It does have a tiny little gap right here, so maybe if I take the binding off, I'll be able to remove the rest. It looks like someone's put some yellow glue in there to try and get this in, but maybe we can get that off without doing too much damage. So yeah, so this needs to be fixed. This piece needs to come out, and then we can see about gluing the whole thing back together. So if we look at this, it looks like this dovetail isn't fit properly, or there's some form of shim right in here. So yeah, that's basically it looks like there's filler in there that was used to fit it. I don't see any on this side though, so gotta be kind of careful about that. So I'm putting some boiling water in here. This is a 1962 Silvertone 1427. It was made by Harmony in Chicago. But it's basically a copy of the Harmony Espanada H63, but it was sold by Sears for about 70% of the price of the equivalent Harmony version. And the Silvertone would be less than half the price of a Gibson, making this a poor man's ES 175. It originally would have had wide P13 single coil pickups that were made by Gibson and are an early version of the Gibson P90. The guitar arrived as a Humpty Dumpty guitar in a box in many pieces. The most extreme damage was what I showed you, the neck being broken out of the dovetail, taking away the cutaway side of the dovetail with it, but there are certainly other issues. So I'm going to try and fix this. Hope you can follow along. I'll add some information as I see that I missed it in my narrative. The reason I'm using hot water here is because it was originally glued with high glue, and the hot water will soften the glue enough that I can get my palette knife in there and hopefully remove the piece without doing any damage. There is a gap here between the piece that was originally attached to the body and the neck that I can get my palette knife in not without much difficulty there. So that was kind of a bonus. That little gap between the body and the neck at the dovetail pocket was useful here. Ta-da. So this will go right in here. Bonus. And that'll leave the dovetail slot. We should be good. So I'm just trying this a couple times to see how it fits. It fits fairly well. There's a gap right here that needs to be clamped down. There's a bit of wood missing here, but that's not a major concern. This is about a week later, as I had to let it dry and so that it wasn't wet when I put it together. All right. So I want to use tight bond for this. I want it to be a different glue than the glue that's going to glue the dovetail on. I want to use a reversible glue for the dovetail. The reason for using a different glue is so that in the future, if someone ever wanted to remove it, hopefully the hide glue or the fish glue that I'm going to be using is going to release earlier and not do tremendous damage to the piece that I'm just repairing. Okay, that fits fairly nice. So someone has cut or broken the fingerboard extension right off of this. And it looks like there's a big pile of glue right here, around where the steel reinforced neck would be. Looks like it will go back together. Okay, so that's going to work fine. So for this, I want to use fish glue because I want it to be reversible if there's any issues or problems. So it's basically going to fit right in here like this. Temperature in my shop has, the outside temperature has dropped to freezing in May, and as a result this fish glue is a little bit thick but still functional. Use the broken binding here as a gauge as to how far it has to tighten up. That's pretty good. Okay, now we got to make sure that it is flat. So I'll take the see if I can get. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. There's no gap here at all. Here I'm checking the neck angle to see how it aligns with the bridge, and you'll be thankful that I spared you the hours of sandpaper pulling that I needed to pull at the neck joint to make the angle better, but I eventually got it reasonably good. Here I'm removing the old glue that's under the fingerboard extension so that when I glue up the fingerboard extension, it'll have good new wood to bond to. I don't think I actually show the fact that I actually put glue here, but I did. At this point, the neck has been adjusted so it's at the proper angle, so that when I glue it all together, it's going to end up being, you know, at the proper angle for the bridge. I did a lot of work that isn't shown on the video, including things like gluing the binding back together and setting it up. I did not do anything with the finish because one of the last messages I got from Joel Wilkins was he wouldn't do anything with it, so if he wouldn't, I wouldn't. Sorry for screwing up the tuning in the next part. I get it kind of right a little later on.